the evolution of money. Ordinary things. And this video sounds cool. Evolution of money. So this has to be good. Let's see.
In Britain, it is illegal to deface a banknote. Drawing anything on or near our monarch's face is prohibited by the Currency and Banknotes Act of 1928. It is, however, not illegal to destroy cash completely.
Okay, wait. Editor, cut out this part. Editor, top right, cut out this part. Okay. Yeah, let's see.
In Britain, it is illegal to deface a banknote. Drawing anything on or near our monarch's face is prohibited by the Currency and Banknotes Act of 1928. It is, however, not illegal to destroy cash completely, which is convenient as it allows me to burn the evidence that I defaced it
So you cannot
unless you count this video.
burn.
But in many countries, including America,
You cannot burn money, but you can destroy it. What? Isn't it illegal everywhere to like destroy it?
it is very much illegal to do what I am trying to do now. Yes, in the land of the free, money is more sacred than any flag or religious text. Because money...
I know that, like here, if you have like the banknote that you turn into the bank has to be like more than half the size of a banknote to get a new one. So if you like 20% of the banknote like rips off, it's lost, you can go to the bank and they replace it with a new one, apparently.
isn't holy.
So but it has to be like
so much
50%
more. So isn't it about
remaining
time
at least.
that we made some of our own? This is the original money, the Creseed. Well, actually, no, it's a picture of one. I couldn't get a real one because they are rare and expensive. Minted in the Kingdom of Lydia in the late 6th century BC, they were issued by their namesake,
Come
King
to Lydia.
Croesus. Other coins did exist before old King Cree, but he was the guy who first made them entirely out of gold. Entirely. And this was such a significant innovation that history has basically forgotten the Creseed's impure predecessors. Gold was just that good.
Gold.
It doesn't rust,
Gold.
tarnish, or corrode. And it was malleable, so it could
Pen.
easily be morphed into a standardized shape. And it shone like the big burny thing in the sky that may or may not be God. Is gold little pieces of God? Probably not, but it was great branding, and even better than
Why
that,
is it so
gold
dark
has
in his
an actual
room?
physical function. Maybe you're too poor to regularly handle gold, but it's actually quite heavy, or like it's heavy enough that you notice its weight. Meaning that ancient gold holders could
There's no
immediately
light
set
in
the
his
real
room.
coin apart from a fake one. You could verify it was real just by handling it. But it isn't enough to know that your coin is real. It being real also has to mean something. Just because something's authentic doesn't mean it's valuable. This is my real, actual pen, but it didn't sign the Declaration of Independence or stab Napoleon, so its realness isn't noteworthy. These coins came from the real, actual king, so they were important. The Creseed was minted with the images of animals, which symbolized the Lydian royalty itself. It was these symbols that transformed a slice of semi-rare rock into a medium of exchange. Because the highest power in the land had literally given them its seal of
They're gonna
approval.
show the circle like coins that you like stamp the metal. And we will see the edges like it's not gonna fit perfectly. Watch it.
Coins were the original information technology. What they
You
were
will see like
made
the
from was
outline of the
hardware,
stamp.
but what was drawn on them was the software, and this is the real lasting innovation. Money isn't made from gold today, but the seal has stayed. Because money is more totem than trinket, more software than hardware. It is an item, but more importantly, it's an idea.
I never played Doom,
This
so I don't know
is
this
what
DLC.
20 British pounds looks like.
Didn't play a single
Well,
Doom
actually,
game.
no. It's what it did look like when this particular design was in circulation. Born in 1999, dead by 2010. Approximately 150 million of these babies were in circulation by the end of their run. So if you'd collected them all, you'd have been £3 billion.
It's insane because the Queen died. Spoilers, the Queen died. And they had to change every banknote to the king, to Charles.
Richer. And you'd have been Britain's 20th.
I don't know if the Queen banknote's still like in circulation, or they had to like completely scrap all of them. Surely it should be in circulation too. I feel like they removed the old ones.
For like 22nd richest guy.
Put the big one
But
on
wait
it.
a minute, how can that be? If you owned the entire stock of a country's banknote, surely you'd be like the richest guy in the country several times
I mean, I
over.
guess like replacing every banknote is fine. Like you get a new royal figure every like 20 years, and that should be fine.
Au contraire, actually, because today most money doesn't exist. Well, not physically, anyway. Only 3 to 4% of money in the UK exists in foldable form.
Only problem that
The
Charles
rest
is
just
old,
recorded
and
electronically in bank accounts.
it might be
or
like
as
in
wealth
5
stored
years
in
they have to
assets,
replace it
like a
again.
house, a business, or a gold watch. Money stores wealth. It is not wealth itself. This is one of those things that we all kind of know to be true, and yet nobody acts like it. Money makes us safe. Money makes us jealous. It makes us scream with joy on a game show and cry with sorrow at the gas bill. Money can change your mind, end your marriage, and it can even make you kill. We think money is wealth because we think that money is everything. But it's not. Not really. True
It's
wealth
only
is time,
99% of
products,
the world.
health, assets, and love, I guess. Money only exists because we need an airtight way to exchange all these non-fungible things. So money isn't everything, it's just where we keep everything when we're not using it.
Alright.
And for a time, this is what 20 units of everything looked like. And
The
for
bank.
my money, it's my favorite money. Because it was the first note I was paid with in my job as
with money, you store your wealth. Oh my god.
a Victorian chimney
Oh my
sweep.
god.
The current 20 is the most used banknote in the British economy, where it is mostly used to buy and snort cocaine. Although with inflation rising as it is, it might not be too long before those nose beers are getting tooted through the 50. But for me, the Elgar note is money, and a wad of it or a briefcase full of them is still what I think of when I imagine a lot of it.
Nimrod. What the fuck is a Nimrod?
The Elgar note is best known for the face on the front that isn't the dead queen. Edward Elgar, considered by many to be Britain's greatest composer. Above
And these are
Elgar
good
flies
banknotes, like old historical figures. You don't have to
Cecilia,
replace those.
the patron saint of music, and to her left,
Dude, clueless. I'm gonna put Churchill on a banknote.
back
Clueless.
is Worcester Cathedral. Worcester Cathedral was a
Apparently they
lifelong
want to
source
replace the... There is a Churchill banknote and they want to replace it with a dolphin.
of inspiration for the
They
composer.
are voting what
His
animal
music came
replaces
from its
him.
grandeur and was performed inside of it. It was said that he grew up in its shadow, and when he died, he did so in a bedroom of a beautiful home on Rainbow Hill with a view of the cathedral that he loved so much. But why Elgar? Why was this composer, and his rather dashing mustache, chosen to front the 20? Well, the answer sort of begins and ends with this song.
Vape W.
The Land of Hope and Glory, originating from the trio section of Elgar's Pomp and Circumstance March. If you're American, it might evoke the horrible hangover you had during your college graduation, but back here in Beanville, it's basically the hold music for the whole bloody country. Composed in 1901, it was an immediate smash hit. A version of it was used for the coronation of Edward VII just a year later. By the time World War I broke out in 1914, the song had basically become the second national anthem.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's definitely better than the actual one, but That's besides the point.
God save the
It was hummed
Queen.
by soldiers when they marched to Belgium, and it was played for them on their return when
And
the bits
we
of them we
drink
could
tea.
find were chucked back over here. The tune is simultaneously a march for monarchy, an elegy for empire, a commemoration for the countryside, and a dirge for those who died in the dirt. So why is Elgar on the £20 note? Because his music represented the last time Britain was in glorious patriotic consensus over what the country sounded like. Consensus, confidence, and trust. These are the three core conditions that give money its power. The first gold coins might have been brave new tech, but they barely outlasted the king who created them. Old King Cree was deposed
let's
by
talk
the
about the
expanding
coin
empire
chipping
of
already.
Cyrus the Great, who took the Cree seed and started using them in his
Like slowly
empire.
removing
But
the
Cyrus's
resources,
son, Darius, also the Great,
valuable
further.
resources from
He
the
replaced the
coins.
conquered king's currency with the Daric, because Darius understood that the relationship between money and power was a two-way street. He scrapped those crappy animal drawings and replaced them with an image of a king.
Base.
This logo didn't just legitimize the currency legitimized the rule of the guy who issued them. Money isn't just a medium of exchange, it is propaganda, and arguably, coins were the first pieces of propaganda and information technology to ever be mass-produced. So powerful.
And like they made money coins. I don't know why he doesn't talk about like stuff like this. They made coins because it's like people were trading in the beginning. And they were like trading, okay, I'm trading my horse for like, I don't know, 10 bread. And this way, you don't have to like have your horse with you. You just have like, okay, here is a coin, that's my horse. And you just trade the coins. Or you don't have, and it's so much easier to like carry and like
That they had the ability
store.
to mint new gods. Okay, coins made Jesus God. Big claim, let's back it up. Throughout the whole history of the Roman Republic, putting your own face on money was seen as like the ultimate act of hubris. So only gods or their associated symbols could be portrayed on coins.
Alright.
Enter Big Dog Julius Caesar, who said, "Fuck that, me be money now," or words to that effect in Latin. He issued coins depicting his own still living face on them, alongside the phrase Dictator Perpetuo, which means dictator for life. And he was, indeed, dictator for life, in a sort of
I mean, it's
ironic monkey's paw.
kind of cringe to have your like face on a coin when you are still alive, but
Genie's Lamp Twilight Zone kind of way.
maybe if there's like a kingdom, you have the coin of the previous king and not you, and you like always like do the previous king.
Because he died 2 months after he minted his own face.
I'm waiting for Trump coin.
No! No!
$1,000 bill
The coin
Trump.
was sort of the final straw for some of his assassins, who interpreted it as the power-hungry act of a power-mad tyrant. But Caesar's coins outlived him. His loyal appointees continued to mint them, even as some of his own assassins attempted to mint their own face-themed coins themselves. Caesar's ultimate successor was his adopted son, Octavian or Augustus. He had two names,
killed
doesn't
him.
matter why.
No.
And he created his
He
own
didn't.
coin, which was in direct conversation with his adopted daddies.
It's fucking
On
Brutus.
his coin, he wrote Divi Filius, meaning son of the deified or son of a god, deifying Caesar in death and legitimizing his own rule by proxy
He's
with
literally
one
Jesus.
bold proclamation. And subsequent emperors would mint their coins in their own image as well, alongside some version of the Divi Filius catchphrase, doing away with the old Republic taboo of not putting your face on a coin. But the heresy didn't
Why
end
did he
there.
write
The really significant
dictator potato?
impact of Octavian's coin
Why
was
not
felt
this
about
potato?
20 years after his own death. A tectonic shift in global culture that started in the obscure Roman territory of Judea, an area of the world that
what?
still has a, let's say, oversized impact on global culture, given its shrimpy square footage. Anyway, at the time, there was this
Banned.
popular preachy carpenter called Yeshua, anglicized and exclamized as Jesus.
Christ.
Jesus Christ. And he also had some kooky ideas about how you should forgive people who were mean to you, and that we're all
Literally
actually
person.
equal in a non-equal kind of way. Anyway, somehow these dangerous ideas really caught on. So much so that they killed Yeshua on wood. But his followers kept his ideas alive and started telling everyone who didn't kill them on wood that Jesus was the Son of God. Not just a son,
And who is God?
you see, but the Son of God.
Weird story. I had like, I don't know, 3 years ago, I had like old ladies ring the bell. I went out, it was like 3 old ladies, grandmas, and they were like some kind of like church people, some random church, and they asked me, like, who is God? And I was like, what? Who is God? Or like, it was like, is God real? Or is God a him or she? Or what is God? Who is he? I don't know. Who is God? Is he a person? That's so weird. Like, there is no answer. I don't know.
Terminology that every
Like,
jangly
who is God? Is, I don't know, Jesus his father, but who is he? I don't know.
pocket owner in the Roman Empire would have been familiar with. This was an intentional and provocative title designed to contradict the authority of the Roman coin and by extension the authority of Judea's Roman
God is Allah.
occupiers. Quite the impact.
No, he's not.
But this is the profound propagandic power
No,
of the
he
humble
is.
coin. So is it a stretch to say that if Julius Caesar hadn't made money in his own image and Octavian hadn't copied him and called Caesar a god, then early Christians might not have come up with their catchy title for their fish multiplying saviour?
Miracle.
Okay, yes, maybe it is a bit of a stretch, but you've got to stretch throughout the day to keep your muscles from getting tight. Maybe you can do that while you watch this ad. While Roman
What's
emperors
next? He's gonna turn water into wine?
blessed with money to run the world, you can use yours to make a difference, specifically with these koalas in South Australia. The Planet Wild community is funding the restoration of 10 hectares of land with 10,000
This guy
native trees
did,
being planted. Pretty sweet.
Flag
And they're
Fest CS team did a sponsor with these guys. Like every time they like won a map, or like Vitality lost the map, or like whatever happened,
A
they like donated the koala or whatever.
seed constrained center to restore the degraded farmland that radically ensmalled
They
the
saved
natural
the
habitat
koala.
of those koalas. So think of it like crowdfunding for nature. They are a community of over 25,000 members who fund a new, carefully selected nature protection project every single month, whether it's restoring forests, cleaning up oceans,
Right.
or rewilding endangered species. And it is actually solution orientated, all right? That's why I
Can we
like it.
save T-Rexes already?
You aren't just throwing your currency into a black hole.
Let the Dodo bird.
You get to see the impact with your own eyes in less than 30 days after signing up, because you'll get a highly produced video showing exactly what your contribution achieved in the wild. I'm a member of
They
Planet
are
Wild
copying
myself,
Mr.
and since I
Beast.
spend all my time making props in this dank little basement, they are my way of seeing how I can contribute to the world without breathing any unmoldy air. Yeah. If you want to join a growing community that makes a tangible difference, consider joining Planet Wild today. You
Alright.
give whatever amount, big
I
or
will
small,
definitely do
feels
this
right to you.
after the
Every
stream.
dollar counts. And as a special gift, the first 100 people to sign up using my
700
code will get their
points.
first month paid
I
for
cannot.
by me. To claim your free month, scan this QR code right here or click the link in the description. This is what $1 billion looks like.
Oh, it's
Well,
Zimbabwe.
actually, no.
Yeah.
This is what it did look like in Zimbabwe under President Robert Mugabe. Robert Mugabe, not a cool guy, had a tiny little Hitler stash, won the lottery while he was
Oh,
president.
that's kind
True
of a
story.
cool stash.
Another thing he did was that he won the lottery while he was
It doesn't really see on his skin.
president. True story.
I don't know. Interesting.
Another thing he did was that he seized all the white-owned commercial farmland and then redistributed that land to native Zimbabweans who many of whom did not know how to run a farm. The country's entire agricultural sector fell into chaos as a result. Now, this was bad because agriculture is where food comes from, but it was also really, really bad because it's where the bulk of Zimbabwe's money came from.
What is it? 1
Zimbabwe's
billion
food sector was obviously
Zimbabwe
highly
dollar.
dependent on the stuff that you can persuade to come out of the ground, but so was its pretty profitable industrial sector. Faced with a lower supply of food, a dwindling tax base, and the spiraling
2008
expense of the military needed to keep people from complaining about the first two problems, the government simply printed more money to cover its costs. And this led to an uncontrollable cycle of...
What country would do that? Like, really though? Like, get a weak currency? Come on.
soaring prices called hyperinflation.
Come on,
Now,
man.
everyone thinks they understand hyperinflation. But when you have conversations with people down the pub who think the government...
Who would do that? Who would, like, inflate their currency? Oh my god! 100 quintillion! Largest animated bill ever issued. Where? 1 sextillion. Holy! I need 1 sextillion. That's based. And have a random, like, farmer on the picture.
should just print more money to pay for all the things they don't want to pay for themselves, you quickly realize that they do not. To truly understand why the government doesn't just print infinite money
All the people don't even know what is a quintillion and sextillion. I don't know.
By your love, we have to understand a very cool concept.
I guess quintillion is 1 higher than billion. No. Billion, trillion. I guess quintillion and sextillion.
Velocity of money is the speed at which cash moves through the economy, how fast it changes hands. Now, there is basically only two things you can do with money: spend it or sit
Just remove a few zeros from your currency and you are done.
In normal times, when
How
an economy booms, people spend more because they're optimistic about the future. When the economy slows, they save more because they're scared of what tomorrow might bring. When people get new money, they spend it faster. When people have less, they spend it slower. Seems simple, right? But when money uncouples from the wealth it's meant to represent, this relationship gets a lot more complicated. When Zimbabwe's government printed more money to cover its own costs, they increased the total amount of cash in the economy. People were getting more money, but the country itself wasn't getting any richer. In fact, in terms of products, assets, and jobs, it was rapidly getting poorer.
Compared to other currencies, it went down.
But when people got their new money, they did the same thing they would if they had actually gotten richer. They spent it. In a worsening economy, there's less stuff to stack on shelves. But when you inject more money into an economy like that, you turn the supermarket into an auction house. Less stuff plus more money equals more competition to buy that stuff, which forces companies to set higher prices. Why? Well, because they can. But more importantly, they are forced to when the cost of making stuff keeps going up. They raise prices today because they know the stuff they sell will cost them more tomorrow. If they don't overcharge you now, they won't exist next week. If the price of just one raw material goes up, then so does the cost of every goddamn thing made with that material. If the price of wood goes up, then get ready to pay more for a new home and for the crappy flat pack furniture you'll have to fill it with. But the price also goes up on things like paracetamol, pre-shredded cheese, and toothpaste. Why? Because all these products that
Because they use wood for fuel.
Put in your gob in some way contain wood. Now, where was I? Oh yeah! When people buy stuff in a country where less stuff is getting made, companies raise prices. But this is a cyclical process within a cyclical process. Customers naturally notice prices going up too. When something costs double what it did last week, they will naturally try to buy that thing in the week before. From here, the velocity of money blows past the speed limit. People are spending faster, not just because they have more money, but because money is breaking down as a stable store of value. And then companies are forced to do something they actually
but it doesn't happen
really
this fast as he explains it.
They raise salaries so that people will actually show up to do their jobs. With prices
yes,
rising,
but then the prices increase and your salary technically is more, but it's less.
People need to be paid more, but the wages rise slower. In an inflationary spiral, prices take the bullet train and wages walk. This cyclical process might lag behind the one that fueled it, but it also fuels it in turn. These twin engines of chaos keep going round and around until they break the machine that they're part of. The more prices rise, the more salaries rise. And as salaries
Carl
rise,
Hassan,
the
he's
faster
gonna
people
fix
spend
it.
their new money that they desperately needed because prices are rising faster than their salaries. That initial burst of government cash might have been the catalyst, but now the economy is inflating all on its own. At least until the inevitable happens. The government goes broke again. They are not immune to the process that the companies and customers are. The government, after all, is just the economy's biggest company that can legally kill you. When everything gets more expensive, the government are once again unable to foot the bill for the stuff they need to keep them in power. Stuff like guns, bullets, and salaries.
That's what we need,
for the
the
military
military budget.
So the government is forced to print more money. This time in higher denominations, ironically,
Who
to
needs
save
actually
money on
good
printing
hospitals
costs.
if you can
But
get
also
like
because
a
prices have
rocket
risen so
launcher?
uncontrollably that these lower denominations are now
The new
basically
tank.
worthless. The cycle starts over, but with such a compounding effect that everything that has already happened now happens even faster. People are spending money as soon as they get it because prices are rising weekly, daily, hourly. Money is now failing its most basic function. It cannot store your wealth. People in Zimbabwe had to be paid in the morning and then were given a raise in the afternoon just to keep up with these constantly rising prices. This is hyperinflation.
50 billion.
50
What can you
billion.
buy with it?
Bread?
Nothing.
Not matches, maybe.
Matches.
Box of matches.
Yes.
Coke.
No.
How much is a Coke?
300 billion.
300
How
billion.
do they even know the prices anymore?
In 2008, the $1 billion
If they
bank
always
was
increase.
born. By January 2009, the $1 trillion note was in circulation. And then finally, the $100 trillion note was printed. All with the motif of the Chiremba balancing rocks, a natural rock formation that is meant to represent the precarious balance between humans and nature, but now serves as an ironic reminder of just how delicate the
Oh yeah,
balance
and then
of value
the
is
money is worthless and they're just gonna use it for like toilet paper.
once it's been destabilized by bad government policy. These notes ceased to be money in 2009 when the Zimbabwean dollar was abandoned in favor of foreign currencies like the American dollar.
Based.
Overnight, this money was transformed from money into trash.
I guess
And then
they're gonna
after
show Germany too before World War II when they are like shoveling money and like have like a full cart of money to buy a piece of
a
bread.
few years, it metastasized into a collector's item, ironically rendering it more valuable than it ever was when it was money. In Zimbabwe, the precarious balance of money and the wealth of the nation that issued it was disrupted. When people who use money lose faith in its stability, it ceases to function. Not immediately, but gradually, and then all at once. This is how hyperinflation really works.
Right, this is gonna be
Money
the
becomes
test
nothing more than
tomorrow.
raw material. All coins should be this big. This is sick. Now, if you really want to make lots of money instantly, you should go work at a central bank. The Federal Reserve in Washington if you want to make dollars, or the Bank of England if you want to make the meal deal tokens we use in this decaying pound-land ruin of the world's ruling empire, so that you can buy sandwiches filled with cigarettes and lottery tickets. In this building, and in most other central banks, there is a network of computers, which can technically create as much money as the bankers working in them are allowed to create. These new pounds are then added to the central bank reserves, money that commercial banks use only with each other and with the Bank of England itself. You never touch this money, but you use it constantly. The entire digital payment system, that nearly £900 billion that moves
Buy
around the whole
Bitcoin
economy in a single
now.
day, is just the process of banks settling their accounts with one another using these reserves. Every contactless tap, every payday, and every late rent payment is just part of the daily equation that's tallied up by the banks at the end of the day. And this keeps us all from killing each other over the last supermarket egg. This money exists because the central bank, their commercial partners, and their computers tell us that it does. And because, well, we believe them. All the actual printing
But
presses
why do you
in
need
Britain
to like
would take over
print
3
to
days.
reserve money on the bank if it's digital anyway?
is to produce £1 billion. Or the Bank of England's computer system can create them in the time it takes to type a couple of zeros. But is this where most money comes from? Actually, no. The answer is a lot closer to home. Contrary to popular belief, most money isn't created by central banks. They do make it, but their contribution pales in comparison to the real money makers.
Government.
That's right. Money is actually created at your local commercial bank branch. Behind the slow-moving line of phone-phobic pensioners and the people who've frozen themselves out of their banking apps, this is where money is really made, by an employee at your local bank and you, whenever you want more money than you can actually earn. Because in our modern financial system, money is created by debt. Yeah, money is literally magicked into existence by a bank so that you can pay that amount back to them plus interest. Crazy, right? This is how it works. When you go to a bank to take out a loan, the bank doesn't move cash from its central supply into a pile they've set out just for you.
Give someone else's
All they do is type
loan.
a few numbers into a computer, and on their balance sheet, they create a loan asset, a digital record that you owe them money. Then, with the exact
Yeah, same. I have no debt loans. I'm even like, I don't even want to like take out. Like, I go to the bank or like a post office, I know every time they ask me like, do you want to take this loan? It's such a good like price or whatever. I don't even listen. I like, it flies out from my head.
same clacking keystrokes from the bank
I
employees'
don't want to
acrylic
get
nails,
scammed.
they instantly credit your account with a deposit, a record that they owe
Get
you
a loan
money,
because you can buy a new car.
which you are now free to spend.
I guess
Central
it's
bank-
good if you like want to buy a house. I guess you have like a partner, some money saved, and you need some money for a house. I guess you can like get the rest from a loan.
Banks exert control on this process with a simple but effective tool: interest rates. By raising interest rates, the central bank can make borrowing more expensive. Fewer people are able to afford loans, so commercial banks can't create as much money. By lowering interest rates, they encourage borrowing by making loans more affordable and therefore accessible.
All
So
right.
in a world where money is made mostly by promises, the central bank keeps the economy in balance with interest rates. By changing interest rates by a fraction, the central bank can accelerate or decelerate the entire economy by indirectly increasing or decreasing the creation of new money, which in turn changes the speed at which it's spent.
So
out
if the
of real
government, the country is doing good, then the interest rate is lower.
world, the velocity of money. You remember that from before.
Surely.
And this ultimately keeps inflation in check.
Because
Interest
if it's
rates
higher interest, then the government needs more money and they scam you more.
are why your paycheck buys a bag full of groceries instead of just the bag. Got it? Good. Any questions? Oh yeah, you.
Oh yeah, hi. I was just wondering, does credit card debt work the same way?
Wow, great question, Obvious Plant. And yes, the answer is basically yes. The only major difference is that when credit card debt creates money, the money is created directly into the account of the seller you're buying from, not into your account. So you don't technically get the money. You
what
just
if
get
I
the
take a
debt
loan
and
from
stuff
the-
you bought. Any more questions?
Mafia.
Yeah, you again.
Yeah, if money is constantly being created this way, how is the money supply not just constantly growing?
Another great question. That is better answered because you asked that first one about credit cards. Money is created by loans, but it is also destroyed by those loans being paid off. That's what makes credit card debt such an efficient system of money creation. It's like an accordion, expanding and contracting. Money is created, and the same amount is then destroyed the next month
When
when
you
you pay
pay.
it. Can you believe it? I've only
But
had
then
11
even like more money gets paid because you always pay the interest.
lessons. And that is how our perfect financial system works. It's a precarious, constantly adapting system that...
Wait, but what happens if people don't pay their debt?
Well,
Based.
okay, yeah, that is complicated,
Now that I
but...
think about it, isn't it a bit reckless that our entire financial ecosystem is sustained on the assumption of infinite economic growth? We're a warming planet of finite resources, you know. Isn't it total hubris to think we can just keep turning our dwindling raw materials into an endless parade of profitable products and services? Capitalism, when you think about it,
Asking too many questions. Mod.
Yes, this
Destroy him.
precarious, constantly adapting system of incentives is perfect. And it's only possible because the pound, the dollar, and every other major currency are fiat currencies. That doesn't mean that their value is pegged to the value of a
card?
small Italian car. It means their value is pegged to nothing but faith and taxes and the levers of a country's central bank. Oh, fuck! But it wasn't always this way. If you've ever had a 4-minute
DMCA.
conversation with a libertarian, you'll know that the one thing they hate more than the age of consent is the fact that we no longer operate under the gold standard. What's the gold standard, you ask? It's when the value of a currency is legally locked to a specific weight of gold. The 19th century was the golden age for the pound. It was the world's reserve currency, and its value was tethered to the amount of real, actual gold held in the Bank of England's vaults. The bank was meant to
We
keep
just
a
moved to
fixed
the Chinese
baseline of
currency.
cash circulating in the economy,
That's the
which was
base.
backed
That's
not
the
by gold
answer.
but by government debt. But any additional money beyond this debt-backed fixed allowance had to be backed 1-for-1 by real gold reserves. This was the gold standard. This limit was set to prevent inflation and keep the world's most powerful industrial economy steady.
Horse alive.
But at the outbreak of World War I, everything changed. The gold standard in Britain was suspended in all but name, as fighting the most expensive war in human history required more money than the Bank of England held in its vaults. And they weren't alone. Within days of war breaking out, Paris and Berlin
And
passed their own panic
everyone took loans from each other, so everyone is debt. But who are we in debt for if everyone is in debt? To the planet?
laws that legally severed the franc and the mark from their gold anchors.
Just cancel the debt
This
between
was basically
countries.
year zero for modern macroeconomics. It was when the power of money was first unshackled from its physical constraints. Many renounce the myth of physically
If
validated
the
currency
US is in debt for China, but China is in debt for like Germany, but Germany is in debt for US, then just cancel it.
and began worshipping at the altar of purely imagined money instead.
Clueless. With an estimated cost of World War One. How much is that? 2 billion? Elon Musk is gonna pay World War One. So 3.376 million.
But there were some who resisted. Some men couldn't let go of the shiny god of old, including the one currently
Surely
depicted
the inflation doesn't mean it's more money than that.
on the back of the modern £5 note.
Replace-
Winston Churchill, cool guy,
Replace him with the dolphin already. Do it.
was an alcoholic, fought the Nazis, but that was later. With America rapidly eclipsing Britain as the world's industrial powerhouse, the financial
I
establishment
don't know why people hate Churchill. I don't know UK history.
at the Bank of England
That's well.
insisted that Churchill defend the
Apparently
pound's
UK
status
people
as
hate
the global
him.
reserve currency. They believed that returning to the gold standard would stabilise the pound, while newfangled
He just took
economists
space for
like
me.
John Maynard Keynes
Apparently he's hated because that's why they want to replace him with a dolphin on the banknote. But he's just based for me.
against this
He's
backtrack.
based cigar.
John Maynard Keynes, cool guy, father of macroeconomics, was bisexual. Unfortunately, Churchill bought the golden story spun by the central bank and caved to their demands. And this was probably the worst decision of his political life. Okay, technically it was the Gallipoli campaign, but this is a video about money, not about war. So we're sticking with the original thing I said. Okay, look, the British economy was in bad shape, which tends to happen when you fertilise a field in Belgium with all your working age men. Pegging the pound to its pre-war value totally overvalued it.
Our industry had been strangled by the exchange value of our money being too high.
This crucially overvalued British exports, so many foreign countries stopped buying them. With many buying
they just started to buy shit from the US.
Products from America instead.
The US got rich.
This crashed the British economy and sparked a massive general strike, which cost Churchill and his party the next election. When the Great Depression hit in 1929, the gold standard turned from a market crash into a full-blown currency catastrophe. Employment collapsed and the actual wealth that money measured collapsed with it. With the pound's credibility in freefall, the Bank of England's foreign creditors panicked and demanded to exchange their pounds for real, actual gold, which they were entitled to do under the gold standard.
So you're puzzled about all this business about going off the gold standard? Well, I don't wonder. It is a bit complicated.
The Bank of England did the maths and realised that their vaults wouldn't survive this international onslaught of panicked pound swappers. In fact, the vault was days away from being completely empty when the cross-party emergency government abandoned the standard for good. They shut the Bank of England's doors to the greedy gold grabbers and finally unshackled the pound from its golden handcuffs. Winston Churchill didn't make his way back to high office until 1939. At which point he was quite busy fighting another most expensive war of all time.
As if the British Empire and its Commonwealth
I didn't know that he was like
last
two-time
1,000 years,
president.
men will still say, this was their finest hour.
After the fall of France, Britain effectively fought the German war machine alone for a whole year, but they relied heavily on the industrial might of America in order to arm themselves. America had already taken Britain's role as the world's leading industrial power, but it wasn't until 1944 that the gold-backed dollar supplanted the pound as the world's global reserve currency. It is often said that Britain won the war by losing its empire. Quite the exchange, but hardly a new one in the annals of history. Emperor Nero literally debased Rome's coins so that he could pay his legions and build himself a bigger palace after the old one burnt down. He debased Rome's denarius into a smaller, 5% less pure version of the silver coin. This stretched the value of Rome's reserves and the borders of its empire. But it set a dangerous precedent for other emperors to follow. Over the next 3 centuries, desperate Roman emperors continued to debase the denarius. By the 3rd century, it was a useless copper coin with less than a percent's worth of silver left in it. Trust in the currency collapsed.
It was good in history to like remove the resources from the coin, so you like save money, but like you slowly kill the coin.
Rome collapsed along with it. The Spanish Empire did something similar by flooding Europe with New World silver to finance their endless religious wars. But this massive influx triggered a century of unprecedented inflation, hollowing out Spain's economy and leaving them trapped in debt, leaving the British Empire to eventually overtake them as the world's leading economic power. Churchill was forced to follow a similar desperate path. He emptied Britain's gold vaults and buried Britain in debt to throttle the Nazi Empire before it could overtake Britain. This plan worked, but it came at the cost of the globally paramount empire
There goes
he
5
devoted
points on
his life to
TikTok stream.
preserving, paving a golden path forward for the American dollar and Britain's real successor as the big dog world power. The dollar didn't detach from the gold standard completely until 1971, thanks to this guy, Richard Milhous Nixon, my favorite president. He isn't on the dollar for a lot of good reasons, but maybe he should be because he is the president most responsible for its modern form. He and his immediate predecessors inflated the dollar far beyond its gold backing in order to fund welfare programs, but mostly to fertilize the Vietnamese jungle with USDA-grade teenagers. Just like Britain did in the aftermath of World War I, America got itself in a situation where its foreign creditors started trading their dollars for gold and emptying their vaults.
Surely the US reserve, the gold is still there, that Trump is hiding, or wanted to check if it's there.
Stop the rise in the cost of living. We must protect the dollar from the attacks of international
No one saw the
money
gold in the National Treasury in like 50 years, but it's surely there. It's still there.
speculators.
This was one humiliation that Richard Nixon could not bear, so he suspended the gold standard once and for all.
It's not empty, guys.
And because the dollar was the global reserve currency, this meant that every other currency that was pegged to the dollar also uncoupled from gold when the dollar dumped it. The dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 80 years, and you might think this is because the dollar is the most valuable, because a single dollar can buy a mountain of dirty, inferior currencies, right? Nope. If money was a value hierarchy, then the... where is it?
I mean,
the
even
Q80
Chinese yuan is using the dollar.
dinar, which is worth over $3, would rule the world.
They kind of try to like replace the dollar, but they are using dollar. That's why the yuan is valuable, because they like exchange it with the dollar like cheaply or whatever.
But it doesn't. The dollar doesn't beat other currencies with maths, it beats them with
I guess you could use it like the Swiss bank note for a main note. It's like a small country that has like gold and money.
mass. America has the biggest economy and the biggest military. The dollar isn't king because it's valuable.
We want like a
it's
solid
king because
country
America
that
says so, and the rest of the world agrees.
neutral.
But the immense power that the dollar derives from America's big shot status doesn't always work in its favor. Having a strong currency makes your exports too expensive for the rest of the world to afford. By
Yes.
pricing American-made goods out of the global market, the mighty dollar hollowed out the industrial base that the nation's wealth was first built upon. Just like the pound before it. Britain became the world's superpower by becoming its factory. Then, clinging to its old power, it pinned its currency to an overvalued standard and priced its own factories out of the global market. America
And it's
took
true,
Britain's
if you buy something from the US, all the imports are like
place by copying its factory-funded
It's
firework
like
trajectory, and then blew up the
50%
same
extra
way.
or whatever.
The golden crown weighs you down. American-made goods were priced out of the market. The strength of the dollar hollowed out the same
It's like
industrial
Chinese
base that brought
stuff
America superpower status in
is
the first
cheap
place.
and their
It
value
traded
is
industry
higher.
for currency strength and to fill its malls with cheap foreign
That's
stuff
why China is
made in the
rich,
factories
I
that
guess.
are undercutting them in the first place. And there's something that kind of feels undeniable about this, like it should happen. It's a kind of geopolitical karmic gravity. Whoever goes up must come down and clear the way for the next global superpower.
China.
But the rules of money aren't governed by physics, logic, or cosmic fairness. They are written by us.
I got a
And so
oh my! I got a new emote idea. Do I have that emote in chat? there is this emote. Oh my god! Editor got this part out. There's this XQC emote. I could make an emote called Shibez. And I'm Chinese. Yeah, if I remember, I'll make it one day. XQC.
sometimes we learn from our mistakes.
Mao Zedong. Save me.
When China's currency started creeping up in value in the
That
1990s,
guy
they
is the president before Xi
are
Jinping.
written. We learn
This guy's before him. This looks like a Korean ad.
When China's currency started creeping up in value in the 1990s, they did something different. They slashed the official value of their own currency by a third overnight. This kept the Chinese yuan cheap on global markets, which in turn kept Chinese labor and products affordable worldwide. In the 21st century,
And
they've
they
done this
maxed it in.
twice, in 2015 and 2019. both tactical decisions made to protect the supremacy of their factories. By refusing to let the yuan naturally strengthen alongside its economic growth, China protected its factory ecosystem from the same trap that Britain and America fell into. Critics of this technique call it artificial currency manipulation, which is hilarious because all of this is artificial. The money, the markets, the value of any one thing is constructed by consensus. Washington complains that Beijing isn't playing fair, but in a world run on completely imaginary money, the rules can always be rewritten. But this does come at a cost. It weakens the purchasing power of its own citizens. Imports are incredibly expensive in China.
But then China makes everything. You don't need to import.
Workers' savings are diluted to keep the assembly lines running. China can only really do this because they're not a democracy. If a democratically elected government tried to slash its citizens' buying power by 30% overnight, they'd be thrown out faster than month-old milk.
Right. W communism.
Bitcoin, digital bank transfers, app-enabled payments. These are the financial innovations of our time. And they might make you assume that money is set to collapse further into digital abstraction. But money is still just about telling a convincing story, and the physical stability of an actually existing asset is still a powerful one. The peak of the dollar's dominance was 25 years ago, where it had a near monopoly on global foreign exchange reserves. It has been in decline ever since, taking a particular dive in 2022 as other countries diversified their foreign reserves to escape America's control over their money. What are they?
So it was the all-time high, then it like went down now a lot, like half of its value is gone. It healed a bit, but it's down again. Feel like it's still like didn't go back at all.
Well,
it's still
other currencies,
low,
like the euro and the yuan.
But it was like $130,000 and now it's like 60.
Recently, they are diving back into gold. The future of money won't be a dogfight between currencies. It will be a battle between the physical and the digital.
AI.
Digital. It will be a battle between the physical and the.
Is this the Hungarian now?
Currencies. It will be a battle.
The blue one.
Between the physical.
No, not this. Oh my god, bro.
Between the physical.
I don't know if it's. No, this is one banknote. What does it look like? It's a cartoon drawing. AI.
And the digital. Digital money is really still in its infancy, and the limits of its fragility have yet to be truly tested. Its staying power depends on where we see the most value being created. Is it going to be contained in the hardware world of commodities and minerals?
No, it's not.
The value that we make in factories and refineries? Or does the future of money belong to software?
Maybe it's AI
silicon.
made.
Is more value going to be made in boardroom brainstorms or by artificial minds contained inside GPUs? China's challenge to the dollar might not come from the yuan, but from their golden corridor, a network of high-tech gold-backed vaults in key countries.
This is the highest.
Nations can settle their balances in physical gold,
banknotes
avoid sanctions, and bypass the dollar entirely. The price of gold reached record highs in 2026 as other countries, including America, are following China's lead and stocking up on the shiny stuff.
President.
This is good news for developing countries who still hold much of their wealth in the physical world, either in their vaults or in the ground, still waiting to be unearthed. But investment in the physical won't immunize your economy from the absurdities of the market. In February 2025, American commercial banks demanded that 8,000 of their gold bars should be removed from the Bank of England's vault and relocated them to New York. All because this global gold buying frenzy had driven the price of gold future contracts in America higher than they were in Britain. So much higher that it was worth flying 110 tons of a high-security asset over the Atlantic just so these rocks could gather dust in a different continent's vault. The value of gold might fluctuate as the rules of money are written and rewritten, but it will never be worth nothing. When Darius the Great undid the authority of the first gold coin, the Creasy didn't become worthless. The Persian king still had to collect the coins of the ruler his
So
father
many
defeated
cases.
decades ago in order to melt them into his own image.
I mean,
It is 2,500
20k
years later,
something is
and those
60
first
euro.
gold coins are still swimming somewhere in our global supply.
Apparently they want to adapt the euro.
In fact, it is a statistical
So it's like
certainty
less
that the
second
atoms contained
adaptation
in
if they
those
do
first
it.
gold coins are contained
everything
within
goes
the
right.
bars under the Bank of England in full,
They said they want to do it, but it will take 4 years at least.
and maybe in this necklace.
Like the checks are
Currencies
doing
may come
fine.
and go. Money can change as fast as the faces printed on it, but gold isn't going anywhere.